Aye.
Okay, call the meeting to order, and at 5:03, that's not bad. And then minutes from the prior one, let's need to get approval. Is there a chance to read those?
I've read them. I only have one question, and I'm not sure what Matt was referring to on line item number 2 in the parentheses there. Comments to remove Paul. I don't know what you're referring to there.
Oh, he had been shown as like where it said present in the attendance.
Uh-huh.
It said Paul Strobel twice, and so since there's only one Paul Strobel,
Thank God.
the second one should be removed.
Well, I didn't see that in my minutes, but anyway, okay.
In the last minutes, that was striking that from the last minutes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, from the previous ones. Yeah.
Yeah, the 2 previous ones.
Okay.
So do I hear a motion to approve the minutes as read?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, none opposed.
Raise your hands.
Financial report, boy, tough one to read today. Boy, this has been nice not having any events. There's no money exchanges.
We have Courtney and Connie are with us now too.
Oh, good.
Yep. I
Hello
have
there.
a question on the financials.
Okay, I think they're unchanged from the last time we looked at them, but go ahead, Brenda.
They are unchanged, but I just wanted to know, because usually, I always put as of July 31st or whatever, the end of the month. And this one doesn't have a date. Did she,
Okay.
were there any transactions at all, or the ending date on that?
There's been nothing since August 26th when we last reviewed them.
Okay. So I'm just going to put August, the end of the month of August.
Well, Tracy ran these for me yesterday, so you could date it the 13th of October.
Okay.
And I guess we should note that in the minutes. By the way, I'm doing minutes, but I'll do it after the fact. We're recording right now, so.
Okay. That was it.
Okay, so do I hear a motion to approve the financials?
I move to approve.
Do I hear a second?
I second.
Connie seconds.
Aye.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed?
While we're still on the topic of finances, this is tangential, but
Ooh, big word.
yeah, sometimes I use those and sometimes correctly.
Sounds like.
So I realize this is a meeting of the DEC, but a few of you, I think, are still members of the still existent nonprofit organization, the Estacada Development Association, the EDA. And we've received a few notices here at City Hall, since that's still the listed mailing address. 2 from the IRS and 1 from the city of the Department of Justice, state of Oregon, for a delinquent annual report. And it makes sense that these are, well, at least the DOJ one makes sense, because no one's really been paying attention to anything EDA related. At one point, there was some discussion about whether or not the EDA would be dissolved, and I don't know that a decision was ever made.
So Matt, I've been thinking about that since you sent that to me. And the only reason why we were holding on to it was in case we decided this didn't work.
Yeah, right.
And if the city feels like you want to continue with this, with a DEC, which I'm assuming you do, then we can get rid of the EDA.
Okay. I don't know if, oh, sorry, go ahead, Brenda.
Did they have its own 501c number? Nonprofit number?
Oh, I mean, I think it's a 501c3. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, so it had its own, that might be another reason why they
Yeah,
want
it
to
was
move
its
on.
own entity, yeah.
Yeah.
the IRS notices, the good news is that one is for a credit and another one is for an amount due. And fortunately, the credit is greater than the amount due. So,
Hey.
so I guess what we need to figure out is who is still actually an official member of the EDA and who would be willing to unwind this stuff. I don't know if we're in a hurry to dissolve the EDA, but we certainly need to address these notices, because if we don't, there's, like fines that accrue and stuff. So
Had a meeting, but Silas is asleep.
do I hear any volunteers to to deal with this?
How do we know if we're a member?
Good question. I might need to contact Nancy Hoffman and find out, or else go through some of the documents she left behind here. If you are an official member, Brenda, am I hearing you volunteer?
Oh, I could do that. I'm pretty sure I am. I was on the board at one time.
I think so too. If you'd be willing to help out with that, that would be fantastic. I don't think it would be super time consuming. I think the DOJ one.
I would be,
Sorry, go ahead.
I'd be willing to come down and go through the files and kind of put records together that we might need and then give to Brenda,
Okay.
if that would help.
That'd be super. All right. Well, I think we'll leave it at that then. Connie and I will follow up with Brenda then, and if Brenda can then take it to the finish line, that'd be great.
Excellent, excellent.
Okay. Thank you for that tangential point.
What was that word again?
Tangential, like it's a tangent.
It's a side issue.
Like a T-E-N?
TANJENTIAL.
TANG, right?
Yes. E.
We're going down the rabbit hole now.
Like tangent.
Yes.
Okay, got it. Never heard it.
All right, Rob, sorry, take it away.
That's okay. So committee reports, economic vitality.
Nothing.
Okay. Design.
I
Nothing.
think with none of the committees have met in between last meeting and this one, we may have some discussion right now about a potential Christmas tree lighting. Should we skip to that?
Yeah. Do you think
Yay.
I'm thinking we should be able to maybe do it in a tangential way.
Use that word in a sentence.
Yeah,
Right.
I will next time I think of one.
Yeah.
How are you thinking about doing it, Rob? What
Well,
would the approach be?
I really kind of don't know. I mean, we don't know about Santa yet. I mean, can kids sit on Santa's lap?
Nope.
At this point, probably not. And so we're going to have to figure that part out. But as far as lighting of the tree, if we don't have any of them, we won't be probably able to have any of the music stuff, but we could at least count down and light the tree.
I think, what would you, if you had to estimate, Rob, or anyone, what do you think the attendance number is?
200.
About 200?
200 to 300, yeah.
I'm trying to remember what the state guidelines are now on outdoor social gatherings. Does anyone by any chance know off the top of their head?
I say it's 200, but I think they just changed it.
Yeah, there's been some movement lately with some of the guidelines. I'll make a note to research that, but if we assume for the moment that an event of, say, 200 people with masks and social distancing is allowed, what does that look like? Is it just kind of gathering, count it down and light it up? I don't think Santa's lap and all that is going to be a good idea.
So what Santa could do is he could show up and hand out candy canes or something like that, just walk around or something. I don't know, and do it all outside. Last year or the year before is when we had the typhoon and broke all of our.
Oh, yeah.
That was so fun. Paul and I had a lot of fun with that, didn't we, Paul?
Yep, those memories.
Yeah, those are good memories. Good old days.
You could
I think we could, it's such an easy thing to put on. It's not a lot of labor involved. That's why I like being in charge of it. And so I think what we should be able to get away with doing it that way. A modified version of some kind.
Okay, so at a minimum, Santa rolls in at the countdown and lights up the tree. I guess with masks on, maybe it's possible, but my understanding is that singing is one of the most sort of like dangerous activities because of,
Only in churches.
yeah, I mean, outdoors helps, but I mean, I even wonder if, you know, caroling or something like that is something we should skip just because of the singing
Well,
element.
we could have the Christmas music playing. Is that what you were going to say, Connie? We could just have the Christmas music playing. Yeah. Won't hand out coffee or cocoa or whatever. We can hand out candy canes.
Plastic wrap.
Boom. We won't do the horse sleigh ride thing.
We could have Santa
I think it'd be
sit in the front of a sleigh and the kids could be in the back. That way they would be distanced from him, but the parents would still have a photo opportunity.
We could maybe work something like that out. Yeah. So let's just keep it on the back burner. I'll talk to Denise further about it, but you know, I think closer to Christmas, things are gonna probably lighten up a bit, maybe.
Yeah, you're prophesying that the virus will vanish, right?
What fires?
Okay, the outside gathering is $250.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I just read it for Oregon.
Okay, well that's promising.
It's going to be a COVID.
So
Christmas.
what date what date might we be looking at get lined up?
Let's see.
So probably December 4th or the 11th.
Is it usually on a Friday, Rob?
Yeah.
Okay.
Friday night.
Okay.
Well, I doubt they're going to have they're not going to have the bazaar, are they? The thing, you know, the.
I don't think it's likely that there will be an artisan show.
There you go, artisan show. So I'll talk to Denise further and work out that little detail on date, and I'll send you guys all an email or something that says, hey.
Okay. Connie, were you saying something?
Okay. We're not probably going to do Santa at the fire station, so there's no conflict there.
Okay.
We never had a conflict. We tried to tie it in with
Yeah.
You know, and if we still want Santa to pull up with a fire thing, we can do that.
Yeah, I think that'd be great if he still showed up on the fire truck, came over, flipped the switch, and we all could be helping Santa hand out the candy canes and go from there.
Okay.
Yep. Good idea. I think it's going to be well needed in the public.
Yeah, I do too.
Very much.
Okie dokie. Sorry, Rob, go ahead.
The organization thing, update on new recruits.
That's me. So last meeting, one of the decisions that was made is that you kind of gave me some marching orders to get to work on trying to find replacements for some of you all.
Yeah.
And I've made some progress.
Good.
So I sent out an email, a call for, I don't want to say help, but a call to join this commission and to get more involved to about 10 business owners, because that was a focus. We said we wanted to have more participation from business owners. So I emailed Donnell and Stephanie at Yo Treats, Rebecca, I always mess up her last name, Kahani. Kaihani of Hillockburn Farm. Now, of course, she's not downtown, but
She'd be great.
one day I believe she will be. Emily at Blush and Roses, Jenny at Harmony. For those that are unaware, and I was going to state this somewhere else in the meeting, but there's a new business open downtown. Well, kind of a move and a new business. Taylor Gibson, who is running her clothing business out of the Mason building, has moved into the Bank of the West building with Julie Cooper, who is a jewelry artist. And they have a store together now in the Bank of the West building, and it just opened a few days ago or last weekend. So I added them to the list. Luke and Tanley from Clackamas River Outfitters. Sadie from the new Salon over here, Sweet Cheeks. Melissa, who runs the food cart, the Freckled Peach. And then Dan from Stone Circle Cider. Another business that's not downtown, but who's been involved in a lot of downtown stuff.
Yeah.
So far, I have a yes, I want to be involved from Rebecca, Emily, Jenny, Julie, and Luke and Tanley.
Wow, nice.
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 So that means those of you who were hoping to pass the baton and ride into the sunset can do it.
Who all is that? I know it's Paul Strobel, myself, and who else?
Those who are terming out are Rob, Masami, Paul, and Brenda. Now, you don't have to go away. In fact, I'd love for any of you to stay on, and then we can kind of go from there. And so that was kind of what I wanted to jump to next is, maybe I don't want to put you on the spot right now in this meeting, but if you could, if your name is Rob, Masami, Paul, or Brenda, think about whether or not you would like to stay involved, and maybe shoot me a message after the meeting or sometime in the next few days about whether or not you want to remain involved or pass the baton. It appears we'll have a big enough volunteer base to fill the vacancies. What I would love for is maybe to fill the commission vacancies with business owners, but to still be able to call on you all as volunteers to help with special projects, programs, events, initiatives, etc.
And that's what I would be very willing to do, is if I don't need to be on the board, but I would be glad to be helping with some of the, like promotions and stuff like that. Yeah.
Okay.
If we decide to stay on, how long's the term?
I'd have to look at
I think it's 2 years.
the ordinance. Does anyone know?
It's 2 years.
2 years?
I think so, because that's how long I've been chairman. I became chairman when I got on the board.
Okay. Chairman Rob. Of course, you could always resign your position before then, but a full term would be 2 years. So that's kind of the update on new recruits. So I shouldn't say surprised, but I was glad that I got a positive reception and that more business owners want to be more involved in the downtown revitalization sort of effort.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's exciting. Yeah.
Yeah.
So again, I don't want to just dismiss you all. I would love to have you stay involved, but if you don't want to be involved at the commission level, it looks like there's a path forward with some new folks. I think that's what I have on that.
Okay.
Is there a cap on the board size?
Yes, it's, I believe, 7.
And we can't go higher than that.
7.
I mean, theoretically, the ordinance could be amended by the city council to expand the membership.
Okay.
Yeah. And that wouldn't be too hard to do, but I would probably say it'd be wisest to just keep it at 7. And if there are extras that want to be involved, they're always welcome to be at the meetings and participate.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they could be like committee chairs or something, or subcommittee, or some way to get them involved.
plenty
Right.
of places for people to participate for sure.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so we can probably leave that agenda item, but if you all would make a note to email me, whether you're terming out or not, if you could just email me and let me know what your intentions are as you head into 2021 and in what way and to what level you'd like to be involved, that would be helpful for me. And then I have a few other things to go through, and I just realized I didn't leave myself like a director's report segment here, but I wonder, Rob, if we could maybe make a motion to kind of scratch the discussion of what does revitalization look like in COVID, and then just kind of do some general discussion about what's happening downtown and what the rest of 2020 looks like for this group before we transition to a new group.
Do I hear a motion to strike item number 5?
I so move.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Nay. Just for fun.
Well,
Fun.
the rebel of the group. Oh, good.
He's
The
been
dissenting vote.
working too hard.
Yeah. Okay, so go ahead, Matt. I like where you're headed.
Okay, so since it looks like there may be some substantial transition on the horizon, I guess it just doesn't make a whole lot of sense to lengthen this meeting longer than it needs to be and to get too far into the weeds. I think planning a tree lighting, if that's possible, is a great use of energy, and then sort of committing the rest of this year into getting ready to head into 2021 under the assumption that hopefully as we head into spring, things will normalize a bit through either loosened regulations or a vaccine or a treatment that's reliable of some sort. Anyway, that's kind of the assumption I think we'll operate under for the moment, if that's okay with everyone. Okay.
Yep.
So a few updates then. Blush and Roses has left the building at Capital Sportswear and moved across the street to where the barbershop used to be, and Emily just reopened in that new spot. I was able to touch base with her, and she's feeling good about that new location. It's affordable, and she's dressed it up nicely. I was impressed with how it looks inside. But what that means is there's a vacancy now at the Capital Sportswear place, and my intent is to connect with Sarah and see what they would like to do there, whether it's lease it out or occupy it or something different.
I'm not familiar with Capital Sportswear.
Well,
Barbara's.
Barbara's Flowers was.
yeah, Bloom, it was Bloom Cafe.
So that's kind of across the street from the brewery.
Yeah, approximately.
More or less.
Okay.
I already mentioned the clothing and jewelry store that opened. So the clothing is called Lennox Jai, and Julie Cooper Designs is the jeweler. So I think a new retailer downtown is great, and that they're on Broadway is even better. So they're really hoping to market hard and make some sales leading into the holiday season, and then look forward to the spring and summer. I was in there Friday while they were getting ready to open, and they've also done a nice job dressing that place up. So we've got, I feel like, some good positive momentum with business owners that are kind of stepping it up and raising the bar in terms of product, cleanliness, customer service, all that stuff. So that feels really good. I would add to that list Sweet Cheek Salon over here, which has just opened. They waxed my unibrow for me.
Nice.
So if you have any,
They missed a spot right there.
If you have any of those type of needs or a haircut, they can take care of you there. But they've also done a good job of creating a real welcoming environment there. So if you get a chance to stop in and say hello, feel free to do that.
Is that the same building of Yo Treats?
Right. Yeah, they
Yeah,
filled
okay.
the Clackamas River Outfitters.
Mhm.
And then Eric and I'm not do you say her name Lisa, Lesa, at Aradia, the new Italian bistro? So
Really?
they are going to open, it sounds like, as soon as they get a OLCC liquor license, which has already been through the whole process. They're just waiting for the final sort of stamp of approval from OLCC. So they've done everything on their end. The city has done everything on our end, and we're just waiting for OLCC, and they will be opening ASAP.
Where?
And that's, in the old Mason Jar location.
Okay. It's a good fit.
They've put their menu on Facebook, so if you want to check that out, you can. But it's should be a nice little place. Looks like they have an emphasis on sort of like smaller plates with wine, but they also have some entrees as well. Healthy options, vegan options. They're gonna do, I guess, in addition to traditional noodles, like the zoodles they call them, made out of squash, zucchini. So
What's
really
going
wishing
Rob
them
would love
success and say
What's
again.
going on with Geocron? What's happening with them?
They're operating at capacity in the back, and then the new women's store is in the front.
Oh, okay.
So at long last, that building is occupied.
What's the name of that again?
Geocron, the clockmaker.
No, the bistro.
Italian.
Oh,
Aradia.
Yeah, Aradia.
Ruddy.
Yeah. I mean, I suppose I'm not obviously an Italian speaker, but I would think if you were going to pronounce that with some sort of Latin accent, Aradia, not Aradia.
Or Aradia.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, maybe they can clue us in sometime.
Yeah.
So as far as business openings and that go, I think that's the update. I will also add that Ant Farm from Sandy does have a lease agreement at 350 Zobrist. That's next door to the new Clackamas River Outfitters.
Oh, good.
Oh,
Nice.
So they will do,
that's cool.
they're still really kind of in the phase of trying to figure out what exactly they want to do with the space, but it will be hopefully a place for youth to gather, for meetings, and then as far as like their mission and more retail element goes, Noompa was looking at one point at doing something sort of bike and skateboard related because of the skate park and because of the bicycle tourism that we have. But, and he hasn't scratched that yet, but last I spoke with him, he and I were talking about how there's a visual arts and a performing arts energy in town. And so he thought it might be cool to do something arts oriented as well. So that's a little bit mushy right now, but nonetheless, he knows for sure he will be renovating and moving into that space next to CRO soon.
That's cool.
So another vacancy filled. That feels good. One thing that Rob has hoped that this board would do more of, and I agree as well, is to look at things that affect downtown and be able to provide sort of input to the city council. So transitioning to that note, I'll share that there's been some discussion among the city council for over a year now about the lack of affordable housing in the city and the just overall lack of multifamily housing. There are a fair number of apartments and rental houses, but pretty much everything is waitlisted, and those that are looking for something to rent have a very difficult time finding it. And so a few meetings ago, the council charged us staff with direction to organize a committee on housing affordability and diversity. And that will be a 9-person committee. Thought I had those roles written down here. Yes, okay, so, well, I'm not gonna run through those, but there's a list of 9 different roles or sort of perspectives that the council wanted to see represented on that board. There's not an opening for a representative from downtown, but if you as a downtown commission have input, as this committee starts to develop a strategy and priorities around multifamily housing in the city, especially if you feel like getting multifamily housing downtown, for example, ought to be a priority, I guess now would be the time to vocalize that, and then either Justin or myself can bring that to the committee and to the council that that's something you feel strongly about. If I don't want to put words in your mouth, if you don't feel strongly about that, then that's fine. But I guess I'm just bringing you up to date there and letting you know that this is an opportunity to provide input. So thoughts on housing affordability and multifamily housing as it pertains to downtown? Anyone?
Well, this may be jumping ahead. Do they have an idea of how many units would be ideal? Number one, and number two, is there land available for something that size downtown?
So multifamily housing can range, like anything 5 units or above is considered high density housing. So if you had an apartment building or even like a 4-plex or something like that, smaller scale, it's still considered multifamily, higher density housing. Something like what Reliance built on Zobrist,
Right.
you know, that's another small scale example of how we can add housing downtown. So it doesn't have to be a multi-level, massive development. Certainly could be, I suppose, but
I just wonder what the demand is. You say we're short.
yeah.
Any idea about what would be the ideal number of units?
So we have a preliminary housing needs analysis that I'll emphasize it's preliminary. I feel like the estimations that it makes are below and very modest compared to what they actually are. But that analysis says that we, over the next 20 years, would need something like another 150 multifamily rental units. I think that's a modest estimation, but that's what the preliminary analysis says.
Well, obviously they can't all go downtown.
No, clearly not. So this committee, one of the things that they're going to be looking at is where are the best places, the highest impact places, the most feasible places to put multifamily housing. And certainly downtown can't hold it all, but if this committee's opinion is that some focus ought to be placed on trying to get some of that downtown, I guess this is just that opportunity to vocalize that so it can be brought back.
Okay. So I think I interrupted your question, Matt. You were starting to ask if someone would be interested. Is that correct?
Well, my question is just, does the Downtown Commission want to formally express on the record that they would like to see efforts made to bring more housing units downtown?
And we'd have to agree.
A really good place for the commission to be involved in, yes.
Say that again, Rob.
I think it's a good place for the DEC to be involved, yeah.
Yeah.
It fits with our mission, it fits with everything we're doing.
Okay, so are you suggesting that there ought to be a Downtown Commission representative on the committee?
Yes.
Okay.
And that we could be involved in it as a commission as much or as little as they want.
Okay.
I think we want to be a participant in that process. Unless,
So
what does everybody else think?
I agree.
They've already determined what the 9-member board or not board, excuse me, committee will be made up of. But I agree with you wholeheartedly, Rob. And so what this might look like is that as that strategy starts to develop, I'm going to be involved with that process. And so we can bring their preliminary work and even final work back to this commission so that you can provide your 2 cents on it before it goes to the council for their consideration. How does that sound?
So you'd be the liaison.
Well, if you're involved in it, you're part of the DEC, so I think that's fine. But I do think that these people on this board and the new, especially like the new ones too, will have a lot to offer as this thing moves forward.
Okay.
And have a stake in the game, because we want room for the people that need to live there, and it's good for the businesses.
Right. Okay. Let's see here. Okay. Well, so the 9 roles that the council approved are a nonprofit multifamily housing developer, a for-profit multifamily housing developer, someone that is an aspiring or current renter in the city of Estacada, an affordable housing advocate. So that might be someone that comes from an organization like Home Forward or the Oregon Housing Alliance or something like that. They wanted to hear from the Home Builders Association and single family home developers. They want to hear from someone who's an advocate for the homeless and houseless in Estacada. They wanted a representative from the Estacada School District and someone from industry and large employers in Estacada. So those are the 9 roles. Downtown, I suppose, theoretically could be added.
Well, Matt, those 9 roles were what we would ideally like to see as well, too. I mean, we're going to reach out and see if we can get people filled for those. But we also left it open that if we could not, it's open to the whole, not just downtown Estacada area, or with, I don't even know that we said within the city limits, or did we say within the school board limits? Or
school district boundaries.
Yeah, so it's pretty open, and it's a pretty specific ask to get those people in there.
That is true. Although I will say I have almost all 9 spots sort of signed up for at this point, but there's a couple that are iffy, and so maybe that's where we can slide in someone from this group.
Yeah, I think so. That sounds good. If someone from this group could possibly be a backup, or even be a liaison to the group, something like that as well too.
Okay. I think that's possible. So let's, how does everyone feel about that?
Yep.
Okay. I am noting that. Okay. Thank you for your input there. I already touched on that one. Just please send me a note sometime in the next week or so, letting me know in what way you want to be involved with DEC. And then finally, here's another one where I'd like to seek this group's input. It's a little bit premature, but I wasn't sure when our next meeting would be. And so I want to put it out there now. The Spiral Gallery has contacted me with interest in applying for urban renewal grant in order to install a legitimate HVAC system in their space in order to, frankly, have heated air and cooled air, but also something that recirculates the air, which right now, excuse me, not recirculates, but rather, circulates out the old air and brings in fresh air. How you want to say that, but here's where I need your input. grant funds are finite. Right now, there's still sort of plenty in the coffers for this fiscal year, but something like HVAC has not typically been something that we would approve as a standalone item. We'd usually like to see it as a component of a larger renovation or activation of an old space to prep it for a new tenant, or to take a vacant space and get it occupied. In this situation, it would be a standalone thing. There's nothing in our grant guidelines that would exclude or prohibit them from getting grant funds for an HVAC system. It's just not a perfect fit. But as we look at that application, if it comes in, I'm interested in the downtown committee's input on sort of setting that precedent of allocating grant funds toward mechanical systems, which are typically not a perfect fit for urban renewal.
What would be the source of the funds?
Urban renewal.
Urban renewal, okay.
Yeah, so urban renewal is not a part of the city's general fund. It's not part of the city's enterprise fund or SDC funds. It's a standalone fund that accrues based on elevating tax assessment in the urban renewal area, which is downtown.
Mm-hmm.
My initial thoughts would be it really does not fit into that. To me, that's the responsibility of a business owner or building owner to maintain their building and make it habitable for those that are leasing from them. I don't know who owns the building. But that's my initial thought, is that it doesn't seem to fit into what we would typically use urban renewal for, which would be to, lift the tax base, make things look more beautiful, and make things look better for the downtown area.
Any other, I don't necessarily disagree with that. I appreciate that.
And I'm open to thoughts here.
Yeah.
Well, I kind of feel like if you deviate from your original scope of requirements, you're going to have more and more applicants, that want to do this.
Yeah.
So it's going to be kind of a struggle there for a while.
Yeah, I think that's part of the risk with it, is sort of setting that precedent. Well, if you helped pay for their HVAC system, then why not help pay for our water heater or something, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Paul's right. So just for everyone's edification, I guess, urban renewal funds in a best case scenario are going to go towards a project that is going to enhance a building such that the tax base, either directly or indirectly, is, at least in theory, going to be brought up. So the Broadway beautification was a public project. It did not go to a private owner, but it, in theory, has a direct impact on the tax base in that it enhances the desirability and therefore the value of all the buildings that are nearby. Yeah. Another example that is visible right now would be the facade improvement at the subway complex. That whole deal is, the vast majority of is paid for by the building owner, but the minority contribution is from urban renewal. And, doing a major renovation project like that enhances the visual aesthetic. It makes it, more welcoming and inviting. And it's a $250,000 project that is going to, that the tax assessor will probably look at as well.
Did the Broadway project increase everybody's taxes?
It did not increase everyone's taxes, only in as much as it increased property values. But by Oregon law, taxes can only go up on a property by 3% per year at a maximum, unless you do some major renovation that would trigger a reassessment.
So if the rationale is that these projects are an attempt to increase the tax revenue, but it doesn't in fact happen, I don't get it. If it didn't increase the taxes, how's that rationale fit? Am I being clear? I don't know. I may be.
No, I think you are. I think what you could say is that the valuation of a building may not have gone up if the Broadway street beautification project wasn't done, or if a certain facade improvement wasn't done. Maybe it would only go up by 1% or not at all. But you know, when you enhance a whole business district, then in theory it increases the likelihood that that 3% increase would be realized.
And it's a
Wouldn't
long,
an HVAC system increase the value of that property?
I'm sorry?
Wouldn't an HVAC system increase the value of that property?
Would it from a county tax assessor's point of view?
I don't know.
Right.
It would improve the resale value. If you had an updated HVAC system, wouldn't that improve? You could ask a higher price on the sale of the building.
So that right there is the distinction, is we're not necessarily entirely concerned with market values. We're most concerned about assessed values when it comes to urban renewal.
Well, I think that becomes part of the assessed value though, too. If an assessor came in, they'd take a look at the infrastructure and say it's outdated or it's up to date. You know,
I rather than thinking or speculating, I think I'd want to know for sure. I've never had an assessor come in to my building here in the downtown area. But I know they've seen the outside, and I've been talked to about you know, like what I bought it for and stuff like that. So there's been conversations with the assessor, but never have they been inside.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't work in the assessor's office, but in my experience, sort of minor building improvements or mechanical systems permits are not going to show up on the radar of the assessor's office. It's really only, so they come in here about twice a year and audit all of our building permits, and they pull the ones that are of interest to them. And those are usually the ones where they see large valuation projects taking place. That's going to trigger that reassessment.
I think I'm thinking more about resale value. If you ever have an inspection done for a resale, these things would up the ante or up the asking price. And those inspections are done like home inspections. They'll tell you what's wrong and what's good and what's functioning, which all go into establishing a final price. And I guess I'm looking more at the resale than the current tax base, I guess. And there may be a difference there.
Yeah, there is. There's a difference from the market value and the assessed value.
Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, okay, I mean, we don't need to beat a dead horse here. I don't necessarily think we should be overly dogmatic about we can only fund projects that are absolutely going to increase the tax base, but it's definitely something that is stated clearly in the program guidelines that a project ought to have some likelihood to, well, here, sorry, give me 1 second and I can read you the verbiage.
while you're looking that up, you know, urban renewal is intended to be a long-term win for the community. It's not like you do an improvement. You know, it took 5 years before anything even started happening. And now it's been 15 years, is it, or 10?
The urban renewal area was formed in 2007.
Yeah, so we're heading towards, you know, the 15-year, 10 to 15-year mark, and it's important to understand that this is a long-term goal, and you know, all the improvements we do to our businesses and the buildings and facades and all that stuff, it's meant to bring people into the community, which makes them spend more money, which brings in more taxes and whatnot, you know, on and on we go. So yeah. It's not just a black and white kind of deal.
Yeah, I would
long term.
I would agree with that. It's a long, what do they call that? It's a long game, right?
Yeah.
In the long game. So I mean, something like painting a building is something that we would fund through urban renewal, even though paint would absolutely not impact, assessed values. But so here are the goals of, as stated in the application. Growing taxable and assessed values, number one. These are in no particular order. Add pedestrian-oriented amenities. 3, visually enhance the building and business district. 4, create downtown residences. 5, convert or create upper floor space for business or residential occupancy. 6, fill vacancies. 7, attract or accommodate new pedestrian-oriented businesses, especially retail and businesses open after 5 p.m. Creating jobs, and then finally preserving historic architecture. So those are the stated goals in the application itself.
Yeah, and HVAC doesn't need any of those, in my mind.
Yeah, it would be a stretch, for sure.
Are there funds available, and are they looking for projects to finance? I think in years where you may be flush, the guidelines could be stretched a little in areas, but in areas where you kind of have limited finances and there's too many projects, you have to be more specific about what you will fund.
Yeah.
I don't know what the current status of the urban renewal funds are.
In years past, we have not spent the budgeted fund, but last year, fiscal year 2020, we did spend every dollar in the grant fund for urban renewal.
Perfect. That's nice when you can do that.
So a halfway point may also be, okay, the grant program allows up to a 50% of project cost grant contribution. We've done some awards that are less than 50% if we feel a worthwhile project, but doesn't necessarily fit cleanly within the program guidelines. Does anyone want to advocate for that, or is everyone firmly feeling this doesn't really fit?
I can sit on the it doesn't seem to fit side.
Yeah, I think it's iffy. I think it's stretching the guidelines a bit.
Okay. Anyone want to provide any other perspective? Okay. So because this application is in that gray area, I will likely bring it to the Urban Renewal Board, which is the City Council, for final decision. But your input that you're sharing right now, which is that you don't feel like it's a great fit and the best use of funds, I will certainly include that in my staff report.
Good.
Thank you.
Any public input? Mr. Gates, do you have anything to say? Evidently not.
He turned his camera off.
He did. Well, he looks better with it off, so it's okay.
Yeah.
Dinner time.
Rob, that's all I had.
Okay. Anybody else have anything to say? I guess I did public input too fast.
Well, I do want to, and I don't know if we want to stretch this out any longer, but this
No.
transition with the new people coming in, do we know when that's to take place? Is there a date set for that?
Ideally, we would have them submit applications in the next month or so, and then those appointments would be made in December to be effective in January.
Okay.
Mhm.
It sounds like you have more people coming in and in terms that are expiring. Is that correct?
We have more spaces too than we
No,
have.
I thought we had a cap on the number of chairs.
Yeah, but we're missing one commissioner.
Okay, but it's capped at 7, right?
Mhm.
Capped at 7. I haven't, so I emailed like 11 businesses and have 5 responses back so far saying, yes, I want to be involved. And right now there would be one vacancy that has remained unfilled for, I guess, almost a year now, and then 4 that are terming out. So that's actually 5 seats.
So it's 5 for 5.
At
Right.
this point, yes. There's a
Mhm.
possibility that I'll get more responses of people that want to participate, but we can, I think, work out who wants to be involved but not be on the commission and who wants to be on the commission.
But if there's somebody that you, if there's someone you desperately want to be on this, I would be willing to step aside and just serve on the subcommittees. But I do like what I'm doing and I do like what the commission's doing. So my preference is to stay on, but if I need to move aside to make room for new blood, that's not a problem for me.
Okay, thank you,
Okay.
Bruce.
That's all I wanted to know. Thanks.
Okay.
Thanks, Bruce.
Yeah.
Scheduling our next meeting, I was kind of looking at the calendar. If we stay with our fourth Wednesday of the month, that's the day before Thanksgiving. And then we're into day before Christmas Eve. So,
Rob, would you like to hold a commission meeting, or would you rather pause for now and just convene a little planning committee for the tree lighting if that happens to be allowed?
well, was that? Well, I was on schedule our next meeting. Are we not going to have any more meetings for the rest of the year?
Well, no, we certainly can. I guess my thought is just that if, for lack of a better term, if this is a lame duck commission right now,
Ouch. Too soon. Too soon.
and with the holidays approaching, maybe we should pause the commission itself until we have these new appointees in their seats, and then focus efforts just on a sub-planning committee for the tree lighting.
If that's okay with our city manager and stuff, then that's fine. But it's been, we cannot not have meetings, I guess. But if you find out something different, I am down with that.
Okay. All right. Well, how about this? Let's pencil in a next meeting for the next month, and we can take a look at the need for that meeting and the ordinance that says how many meetings we need to have and how frequently in the interim, and make a decision about whether we're going to have the meeting as it gets closer.
Why don't we, I'm thinking, what if we said December 2nd, which is the first Wednesday of the month?
Okay.
I'm just throwing this out here. We could do whatever or not, and then that could be our last meeting as this commission, as this thing. We can invite the new people.
Yeah.
And kind of have a combined meeting with all of us.
I like that.
And then exit us out and those others in.
I like that.
That sounds good. I'm open that day.
What time?
Well, typically we've done 9 o'clock. Masami can't make a 5 o'clock meeting. So let's see about doing the 9 o'clock, I guess. 9 o'clock, Wednesday the 2nd.
Okay.
Cricket. Did anybody else besides?
That's good. I can make that.
Brenda,
That may
can you make that?
That may actually work nicely, considering many of these business owners probably don't open their doors until 10 or 11 anyhow. So 9 a.m. December 2nd.
Yep.
Yep.
Do you want to invite us to that?
You mean send out an invite like I did for this one?
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, we got the...
I got it in stereo. I hear it outside and I hear it on your phone. Okay, so Brenda, are you there? Will that work for you?
Yes,
December 2nd, 9 a.m.
yes.
And Constantine?
Connie, you there?
Oh, she ducked out.
Okay.
Hopefully that's that ambulance, that fire truck wasn't for, anyway, so I think she'll be okay with that too. And there's Paul, who am I missing? Let me look through the list here. Courtney, are you okay with that? Okay, and Justin?
They're gone.
Yes, sir. I'm good with it.
Oh.
Okay, good. So everybody that's here can make that meeting and invite all the new dudes and dudettes to the board, and hopefully we can do it in real life and not virtually.
Okay. Let's see here. Invite. Okay.
Okay, meeting adjourned.